morning, panel.
It is my duty as a first-line supervisor of the Philadelphia Police Department to ensure my officers are highly motivated, highly trained, so they can provide the citizens of Philadelphia the highest level of service. I recognize the sensitivity and the seriousness of a guerrilla running loose in Center City requires my immediate attention and action. The first thing I want to do is I want to notify police radio. I'm aware of the problem and I'm en route. I'm going to notify my officers to implement the basic fundamentals of the incident command system. When practical and safe to do so, attempt to isolate, contain, and secure the guerrilla. We're going to notify the Pennsylvania Games Commission, who are the experts in dealing with wildlife such as the gorilla. They have the ability to manage and protect wildlife and their habitats. We're going to also notify the Philadelphia Animal Control, so they can provide service to the Philadelphia Police Department, just so better ways to contain the gorilla. Along, we're going to also notify the Philadelphia Zoo. The Philadelphia Zoo is the only organization or zoo within Philadelphia that will house such wildlife. So I'm gonna have handlers respond to location who may have familiarity with the gorilla, and also instruct officers in better ways to engage the gorilla and also interact with the gorilla to better contain the gorilla. The Philadelphia Police Department we have a duty to protect life and preserve life, and that life and preservation also includes the gorilla as well. I'm going to notify me, the supervisor, of the incident that's occurring within Center City, and that I'm going to be in direct command upon my arrival. Now, upon my arrival, I'm going to immediately make sure that the basic function of incident command system has been put into place, starting with the inner perimeter. The inner perimeter will just upkeep the integrity of the crime scene, along with the outer perimeter. The outer perimeter will just make sure that any unnecessary personnel does not respond within the inner perimeter. And yes, this will be a crime scene because this matter can turn into a very drastic and widespread problem in a matter of seconds. Now we're going to have the staging area. The staging area is going to just where all the necessary personnel will be. We're going to now have the command post. The command post is simply where I'll be stationed at and directing my commands. I'm going to make sure we have routes of egress and ingress. These necessary routes will just make sure any necessary personnel can gain access to the crime scene quickly. We're going to make sure I assign the crime scene log, which is a chronological order of events of the incident, along with the incident report, to our communications cast. The crime scene log and the incident report will be delegated to this responsible officer because it'll just free up more time to focus on the integrity of the crime scene and the protection of citizens and this gorilla as well. From there, I'm going to make sure we have all officers who are responding are under one effective communication band so we all communicate effectively. I'm going to make sure I have public transportation. We route any SEPTA buses because, again, we're in the city, so it's very congested, and there's a lot of public transportations that can now interfere within the crime scene. We'll make sure we have fire department response, we have medics on location in the event of injuries. I'm also going to have aviation, which is very important. They'll give us a bird's eye view of the crime scene along with the movements of the gorilla. So the crime scene for this particular incident is going to be mobile because in the day, because the gorilla, because I'm pretty sure not going to be stationed, so the crime scene has to go along with the gorilla. We're down Center City, so I want to utilize all my officers that we have internally immediately. However, we're down Center City, so it's heavy traffic flow, so I'm going to communicate with traffic unit immediately. So I'm going to have traffic personnel respond to location to provide expert tactics and best ways to reroute traffic that's coming from the Center City. I'm now going to communicate with our school resource officer within the area to make sure if there's any schools they need to take shelter immediately. I'm also going to communicate with our necessary personnel on location, so they now go to the wide variety of businesses along Center City, the churches, or even shelters, just so they can communicate with the stakeholders, just so they can take shelter in place and get informed of the incident that's taking place as well. I'm also going to communicate with public affairs. Public affairs is our unit that communicates to the public, and now through social media, they're now able to communicate with the public and the residents within the area, whether it's through Instagram, Facebook, or even Twitter. Just inform them of the wildlife animal that's on the loose, and they should necessarily shelter in place or evacuate or stay away from the area as a whole. Now that we established control of the situation and we have necessary personnel on location, and we're going to conduct our interaction and our tactics based on the guidance of Animal Control and the Pennsylvania Game Commission. There are alternative approaches in this situation, pending accident circumstances. In the event that the animal is posing risk to the citizens, and which can cause serious bodily injury, deadly force will be used. This alternative approach So if an officer discharged and to take down the guerrilla, there are department of policy that we must follow to assure that everything conducted within the necessary protocol. In the event of officer discharge, as the first responder supervisor, I would now, inspect the officer magazine just to make sure, get to understand how many rounds the officer discharged. I would now let the officer body worn camera deactivated, which we later taken to Officer Ball Shooting Investigation Unit for to be viewed later. And view any other officer's magazine body worn camera that's on location. I will conduct a public safety statement with the officer, just ascertaining where the discharge take place, is any more threats to society or the public. I'm going to conduct a supervisor firearm discharge checklist with the officer or any other officer discharge, with just a form of questions pertaining to where the discharge occurred, the circumstances around the discharge, and so on. Police radio, and I'm going to also notify police radio, which has an emergency response checklist in place to have necessary personnel respond to location, like crime scene personnel, which is going to be now the lead investigation, they're going to handle this incident. Officer Ball Shooting Investigation Group, they handle all Officer Ball Shooting within Philadelphia. Turn Affairs is our investigation unit that handle all complaints against police and use of force incidents, along with a representative from the Fraternal Order of Police that's going to hold legal guidance to the officer of discharge. Pending, further investigation, the officer will be transported separately to Officer Ball Shooting Unit along with myself for further investigation. And again, there's just an alternative approach that we have to keep into account in the event it goes south immediately. However, I feel that, and I know that I have put in place successful steps and notification to ensure that alternative approach would not necessarily be utilized. Regardless of the outcome, I feel like I've put in place necessary steps and necessary personnel on location to ensure the safety of not just the citizens, but also this guerrilla. Now, this is not a situation that we deal with every day. This is a very, not necessarily abnormal situation, but that's not occur every day. So additional measures must be put into place for us as officers to best respond to these emergency situations. And the best way to do that is through training. Training is the backbone of the Philadelphia Police Department. So I have to ensure that my officers are not only highly trained, but that training includes myself as well. So through roll call, I'm going to implement training. Roll call is 15 minutes at the start of our tour duty that allows two-way communication amongst the supervisor and his officers. I'm going to also, through this training, ensure my officers are highly aware of the Department of Policy of Animal Control. I'm going to also coordinate with Pennsylvania Games Commission to come through our roll call, just to speak with officers and best ways to deal with wildlife and potential tactics. We also coordinate with the Philadelphia Zoo, have them come out to our roll calls, or even we can go to the Philadelphia Zoo, just best ways to come up with preventative measures to handle wildlife incidents, or even when there's emergency response situation that happen as well. I'm going to recognize my officer in this situation, not only preserving life and preserving the dignity of the animal, but doing everything within protocol. I'm working out my officer in the form of whether it's district accommodations, merits, or even a simple luncheon in the courtesy of a Fraternal Order of Police. Now there is understanding that there cannot be negligence when handled with the severity of wildlife animals, because they have a duty of life as well. So any negligence of handling wildlife animals and it's not followed suit within our Department of Policy, and they are remiss in their responsibility of handling this, I will institute progressive discipline under any means, because the wildlife animal has the same rights as these citizens of Philadelphia as well. From there, we're going to coordinate with the community. Just give them a better understanding of the situation that occurred and best ways that we can put preventative measures into place to ensure the community is safe and have an understanding of what's going on as well. And best ways that we can utilize the upkeep of communicating with the community. I'm going to do a follow-up report with the Philadelphia Zoo, will be the agency that houses this particular wildlife animal. Just ensure that preventive measures has been put into place along with emergency response system. So we know that in the event of a wildlife incident, that we can notify Philadelphia Zoo, they have an emergency response system in place to best contain the guerrilla. I'm going to do an after-action report. After-action report is going to detail all the necessary steps I've taken in place to successfully handle the situation. I'm going to now forward this after-action report to my media supervisor and also to research and planning. So maybe they have an ideal standard procedure of dealing with incidents such as these, which is a very abnormal situation, unfortunately. I am assured that the protection of citizens, I'm sure that protection of the wildlife animal, I'm sure that my officers are highly trained, and that training could include myself as well. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much.